What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react and learn about 5 things that Canadians find scary about the United States. Really? Scary? Scary? I mean, has it gotten to that point? We're ignorant. Sure. Weird. Yeah, we're weird. Fine. Okay. But scary. Jeez. Well, I guess it is the Halloween season, so maybe this is appropriate. So I thought it'd be interesting to hear about what Canadians find really disturbing or scary about the United States. So let's take a look at this.
5 of the scariest things in America from a Canadian perspective.
Okay.
First, we got a goddamn dinosaur elevator. Listen, we've got dangerous animals in Canada too, but nothing that...
Oh my God, do you guys not have alligators? Wait a minute. I didn't even know this was an American thing. You guys don't have this? Like alligators, crocodile? I don't really know the difference, but yeah, I mean, they are scary. It's just not something I ever think about. To be honest, alligators are really only found in the southern United States, really like a lot in Florida. But like you gotta be down in like Alabama and Mississippi and Louisiana to be scared of alligators or crocodiles or but it is so true. Like look at this thing. Like it's like a dinosaur. But that's funny.
comes even remotely close to a literal walking amphibious blender wearing a flak jacket.
Yeah.
And now you guys are using these things as prison guards?
Huh? Are we? That's not a terrible idea. I don't know about all that, but funny enough, when I was a kid, we did learn in school how to, like, they taught us a little bit, like, I don't know if it was a joke, but how to get away from alligators. You're supposed to run in like a zigzag pattern, like zigzag, because alligators are really fast in a straight line, but they don't turn very well, from what I remember. And you want to like climb up a tree or something. That's what I remember. So the fact, maybe I was taught that in Cub Scouts or something, or school. But it is something we kind of talk about. So I didn't know Canada didn't have alligators. I guess you have to have the right climate for that. But yeah, that's so funny. I didn't even realize that was really an American thing.
What the fuck? Number 2, the food. Over 40% of Americans are considered obese, and according to the USDA, the average American consumes 3,800 calories every single day.
Yeah, I mean, we gotta eat. Guys gotta eat. But 3,800 calories? 3,800 calories. Did he say that's the average for an American? Aren't you supposed to have around 2,000? You know, I know that America is known for being extremely unhealthy because it's factually accurate. That's just the truth. Like, I know we are one of the most unhealthy countries, and living here, I know it. I see it in our food, our processed food, and our portion sizes. It's really, as an American, it's like a contradiction for me. Because on one hand, I know it's bad, and I know it's killing me quicker. On the other hand, like most Americans, I love our food. I love processed snacks, and I love how much food you get at a restaurant, the giant portion size. And at McDonald's, the Coke, the large Coke, is like the size of your head. And for me, that's just normal. And that's kind of a scary thought, or it should be. So I understand if Canadians are, disturbed, scared, whatever, looking at Americans and our food, because that's actually a very healthy point of view to have.
Now, nobody ever taught me rocket appliances, but I'm pretty sure that y'all ain't eating 25 pounds of broccoli that would be required to meet that caloric intake.
I mean, you don't know? You don't know? No, we're not.
And third, Chicago.
Chicago? Chicago? Scared of Chicago? I mean, a lot of American cities are scary in the sense that there's crime. There's more crime in cities, but I think any country in the world, there's more crime in the cities. It's just kind of how it works, how humans work. What's scary about America is in our higher crime areas, there's more gun violence. Because in America, it's very easy to get a gun. So high crime in other countries means, more stealing, maybe more knife crime or something, more vandalism. In America, it also comes along with a lot more gun violence and gun crime, and that's scary. Why Chicago in particular? I've heard Detroit is not a great place not to pick on anybody, but I think statistics show New York, parts of New York can be dangerous. Why Chicago?
There have been multiple years where Chirac here has had more murders than the entirety of Canada combined.
Oh, I didn't. It's funny because, here living in America, I do not hear that much about Chicago in particular. I hear more about LA or something. But I would think a lot of cities in America probably have more murders than, wow, all of Canada? I mean, that's a shocking statistic. That's actually bad. We have a lot bigger population though. Does that count for something? Kind of.
And we have a city where people stabbing each other is called a handshake. Number 4.
Where was that? Huh? Okay, let's keep going. Number 4.
Going to school. Now, last time I got too far into this topic, my account got suspended, so I'm gonna just leave it at this, that going to school in the States doesn't seem that safe.
Okay. I'm kind of glad. It's really interesting seeing a lot of this from a Canadian perspective, what you guys think about America and for example, our safety. And even more specifically, at school. I get the sense that Canadians or people around the world really think that American schools are all scary, dangerous, terrifying places to be. And I'm here to say that, I can only speak from my American perspective. That's true. But I think I'm pretty representative of a lot of typical Americans and growing up. And for most of us, school is not dangerous. It doesn't feel dangerous. It's not scary. I grew up hearing about shootings at schools. That's a sad reality of America. And we definitely have more school shootings than any other country in the world. But if there's a school shooting in Nevada and you live in Ohio, it feels like a world apart. If you know what I'm saying, America is so big that there's these school shootings in it. If it happens in a state that's far away from you, as is often the case because America is very big, you don't feel scared. You're just like, wow, that's so far away. That's not where I am. It feels like another country sometimes, a state on the other side of the country. That's not to say that this isn't accurate. Let's be honest here. America statistically has an outrageous amount of school shootings. That's very true. I think it's just that our country is so big, there's so many schools, the vast majority of Americans like me, we live our whole lives without ever being anywhere close to a school shooting or someone bringing a gun to school. I know these make headlines and these are in the news, and they should be, because these are horrible. And there's way too many of these. But I don't know. It's just interesting to me how people in other countries really seem to be scared of our schools. Whereas, if anybody should be scared, it should be me. You know, I'm an American. I went to school in America. I was never scared. And that really, it does have to do with where you grew up, obviously. If you are in a safe area of the United States, if you're in a safe community, your social, demographic, and economic status, and obviously all of that is a huge factor. So I guess I've been fortunate in that sense to feel safe at school. I guess the bottom line is, for me, I think this is blown out of proportion a bit. The idea that every school in America should be scared or is a scary place is just simply not true. But at the same time, there's way too many school shootings in America. That's true. Both are true. I don't know if that makes sense, but I've just heard this before, and I just feel like I gotta give my point of view. Maybe we should be more scared. Maybe it's kind of silly that we're not. I don't know, but I think when you grow up in America and you grow up around, like you grow up in our culture, you know about guns, you know about shootings. Maybe it's too normalized. Maybe the fact that I'm so jaded and the fact that I'm not worried. Maybe that's a bad thing. Maybe Americans are too comfortable with the idea of school shootings and guns existing and being so maybe that's true. You know, I could do some self-reflection there, sure. But that's a valid one. So I understand. I understand why Canadians would feel that way, for sure.
And lastly, we've got Americans, also known as the Y'all-Qaeda.
The last one, things Canadians find scary about the United States, is Americans. It's us. The inhabitants of America are scary? In what sense? I'd like to know. I see here he's already talking about guns and shootings.
I've read stories about people getting shot at just for pulling into someone's driveway to turn around. Not to mention...
That's true. That's true. You know, even like where I live, I know a few years ago, where I went to college, somebody was shot in the Walmart at the door. And I still went to that Walmart. Like, it wasn't even considered a bad part of town. So maybe this is good to hear this from a Canadian. Because the more I kind of think about it, we should be way more worked up about it. That's true. That's true.
Half the Yankee Doodle dipshits these days think that Canada is for sale. I'll tell you what, bud.
Okay, so he's talking about guns in America. The American attitude towards guns is scary. That's true. Maybe I'm scaring people. Maybe I'm scaring people right now with my attitude towards it. But I've said in other videos, like I'll openly say, I think guns are way too accessible in America, and it should be much more difficult to get guns. I agree with that. What else was he saying here? Oh, yes, that a lot of Americans are scary because if they have this attitude of taking over Canada and making Canada part of the United States, you know, that Donald Trump mentality there, that's scary. I would agree. If I was Canadian, I would find that very disturbing. I agree.
It's for sale. I'll tell you what, bud. If you want to buy a piece of Canada, you should check out the merch site at Kopke613.com. We got thousands of...
Okay, so now he's just selling his hats. All right, that's it. That was, you know, some of that was like jokes and kind of funny, but like the alligator maybe, although those are scary and real. But a lot of this was very, very accurate and very true. And I started this video kind of chuckling at, oh, Canadians, you think some of the stuff we do is like scary or weird, and now I kind of get it. You have some very valid points. Very valid. So I think this was actually really good for me to take a look at and think about. So I got a lot out of this. Anyway, if you enjoyed this as well, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment with your thoughts on some of the scariest things about America. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to Canada and seeing and hearing about Canadian things I've never seen before, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.